Namaste. So tonight I'm going to read Book 5, Chapter 2, on the birth of Danava Mahesa in the Maha Devi Bhagavatam. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Surya Koti Samaprabha. Hari Om. Hari Om Tat Sat. The king said, Lord, you have described fully the glory of the Mahamaya Yogeshwari. Now describe her life and character. I'm very eager to hear them. This whole universe, moving and non-moving, has been created by Maheshwari, who is there that desires not to hear her glory. Vyasa spoke, O king, you are very intelligent. I will describe in detail all this to you. Whoever does not describe her glory to the peaceful and faithful is certainly no low-minded. In days of yore, a terrible battle ensued between the Devas and Danava forces on this earth when Maheshasura was the ruler of this world. O King, Maheshasura went to the mountain of Sumeru and performed a very severe and excellent tapasya, wonderful even to the gods. O king, meditating on his Ishta Devata, the deity, for his worship, in his heart elapsed full 10,000 years when Brahma, the grandfather of all the lokas, was pleased with him. The four-faced Brahma arrived there on his vehicle, the swan. Ask Mahesasura, O one of virtuous soul, ask for me what is your desired object. I will grant thee boon. Mahesa said, O Lord, lotus-eyed, I want to become immortal. Therefore, thou, the grandfather of the Devas, dost thou do for me so that I have no fear of death. Brahma said, O Mahesa, birth must be followed by death, and death must be followed by birth. This is the eternal law of nature. Then know this as certain, that when one is born, one must die, and when one dies, one will be born. O Lord of the Danavas, what more to say than this? That high mountains, vast oceans, and all the beings will die when time will come. O ruler of the earth, you are virtuous, therefore ask any other boon than this immortality. I will grant that to you. Mahesha said, O grandsire, grant then that no Deva, Danava, nor human being of the male sex can cause my death. There's none among women who can cause my death. Therefore, O lotus-eyed, let woman be the cause of my death. How can women slay me? They are too weak to kill me. Brahma said, O Lord of the Danavas, your death will certainly occur at any time through a woman. O highly fortunate one, no man will be able to cause your death. Vyasa said, thus granting him the boon, Brahma went to his own abode. The Lord of the Danavas too returned to his place, very glad. The king said, O Bhagavan, whose son was this powerful Mahesasura, how his birth took place, and why too did he get a body of a buffalo? Vyasa said, O king, Ramba and Karamba were the two sons of Danu. These two Danavas were far famed in this world for their preeminence. O king, they had no issue, hence desirous of issues. They went to the sacred banks of the Indus, Panchanada, and there performed severe asceticism for long years. Kadamba got himself submerged in water and thus began his severe tapasya while the other, Ramba, had recourse to a juicy peepal tree haunted by Yakshinis, and there began to worship fire. Ramba remained engaged in worshipping the 5 fires. Knowing this, Indra, the lord of Sachi, was pained and hurried thither, being very anxious. Going to Panchanada, Indra assumed the form of a crocodile and caught hold of the legs of the wicked Karamba and killed him. Hearing of the death of his brother, Ramba got very much enraged, and wishing to offer his own head as an oblation to the fire, he wanted to cut off his own head. He, being infuriated, held the hairs of his head by his left hand, and catching hold of a good axe by his right hand, was on the point of cutting it, when the fire gave him knowledge, desisted him from this act, and spoke thus: "You are stupid. Why have you desired to cut off your own head? Killing one's own self is a great sin, and there is no means of deliverance from this sin. Why are you then ready to execute it? Do not seek your death now. What end will that serve you? Rather ask boons from me. Thus you will get your welfare." Vyasa said, "O king, hearing thus the sweet words of fire, Ramba quitted the hold of his hairs and said, O Lord of the Devas, if thou art pleased, grant my desired boon, that a son be born unto me, who will destroy the forces of my enemy, and who will conquer the 3 worlds, and that son be invincible in every way, by the Devas, Danavas, and men, very powerful, assuming forms at will, and respected by all." The fire said, "O highly fortunate one, you will get your son as you desire. Therefore, desist now from your attempting suicide. O highly fortunate Ramba, with any female of whichever species you will cohabit, you will get a son, more powerful than you. There is no doubt in this." Vyasa said, "O king, hearing thus the sweet words of the fire as desired, Ramba, the chief of the Danavas, went, surrounded by yakshas, to a beautiful place adorned with picturesque sceneries. When one lovely she-buffalo, who was very maddened with passion, fell to the sight of Ramba, and he desired to have sexual intercourse with her, in preference to other women. The she-buffalo too gladly yielded to his purpose, and Ramba had sexual intercourse with her. Impelled, as it were, by the destiny, the she-buffalo became pregnant with his semen virile. The Danava too carried the she-buffalo, his dear wife, to Patala, the lower regions, for her protection. On one occasion, another buffalo got excited and wanted to fall upon the she-buffalo. The Danava was also ready to kill him. The Danava came hurriedly and struck the buffalo for the safety of his wife, whereon the excited buffalo attacked him with his horns. The buffalo struck him so violently with his sharp horns that the Ramba fell down senseless, all on a sudden, and finally died. Seeing her husband dead, the she-buffalo quickly fled away in distress and with terror. She quickly went to the peepal tree and took refuge under the yakshas. But that buffalo, excited very much and maddened with vigor, ran in pursuit of her, desiring intercourse with her. On seeing the miserable plight of the weeping she-buffalo, distressed with fear, and seeing the buffalo in pursuit of her, the yakshas assembled to protect her. A terrible fight ensued between the buffalo and the yakshas. When the buffalo, shot with arrows by them, fell down and died, Ramba was very much liked by the yakshas, so they cremated his dead body for its purification. The she-buffalo, seeing her husband laid in the funeral pyre, expressed her desire to enter also into that fire. The yakshas resisted, but the chaste wife quickly entered into the burning fire along with her husband. When the she-buffalo died, the powerful Mahesa rose from his mother's womb from the midst of the funeral pyre. Ramba too emerged from the fire in another form out of his affection towards his son. Ramba was known as Raktavija after he had changed his form. His son was thus born as a very powerful Danava and became famous by the name of Mahesa. The chief Danavas installed Mahesa on the throne. O king, the very powerful Raktavija and the Danava Mahesa thus took their births and became invincible of the Deva, Danavas and human beings. O king, I have now described to you the birth of the high-souled Danava Mahesa and his getting the boon, all in detail. Here ends the second chapter of the fifth book on the birth of Mahesa Danava in the Devi Bhagavatam, the Mahapuranam, composed of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Vyasa. Om Jayanti Mangalakali Bhadrakali Kaparitakashmash. Om Mangalabhakli Shri Sarvata Sadhikishanyate